Cinderella was 75 years old. After living a long and fulfilling life with her Prince Charming, he had passed on, and she sat happily on her rocking chair, watching the world pass by with her cat, Alan. One sunny Sunday afternoon, out of nowhere, her fairy godmother appeared. Cinderella said, "Fairy godmother, what are you doing here after all these years?" And the fairy godmother said, "Well, Cinderella, since you have lived a good and wholesome life since we last met, I have decided to grant you 3 wishes. Is there anything for which your heart still yearns?" Cinderella's taken aback. But she says, overjoyed, "I wish I was wealthy beyond measure." Instantly, her rocking chair was turned into solid gold. Cinderella was stunned. Alan, her faithful cat, jumped off her lap and scampered to the edge of the porch, quivering with fear. Cinderella said, "Oh, thank you, fairy godmother." "It's the least I can do," she said. "What is your second wish?" And she said, "Well, I have lived a long and joyful life, but I would love to be young and beautiful again." Poof! Her wish was granted, her desire was made real, and her beauty from her youthful visage had returned. She was so happy. And then she realized that being a young, lovely woman, she would desire companionship. And so she said, "Fairy godmother, I wish that you would turn my lovely cat, Alan, into a handsome young prince for me." Oh, you've heard this before, haven't you? Poof! Suddenly, the cat had become the most amazingly handsome, beautiful young man you could ever imagine. The fairy godmother said, "Well, my work here is clearly done. I will leave you to your happy life." Cinderella and Alan looked into each other's eyes for a pregnant pause. Alan comes over to her and whispers into her ear, "Aren't you sorry you had me neutered?" Blessings on the reading of the word. No, I'm sorry. That's like... I know. It's good, right? That's funny. So what we're talking about tonight is when it may not go exactly as you planned. And are you still available? Are you available? So I have a slide that I want to bring up. I think I didn't bring my clicker up here, but I should have one slide that I want to... Yeah, there it is. It's a diagram, as you can tell. This is a model of the 4 kingdoms of consciousness as created by Lloyd Strom and Marcia Sutton. It's also the same teaching idea comes from Michael Beckwith. And once I had I'm going to break it down for you in a moment, but my old minister, she's not old, but my former minister in Reno is a student of Marcia Sutton. And I had asked my friend Lisa, I said, "Can you ask Marcia about this? Who created it, Michael Beckwith or Marcia and Lloyd?" And so Lisa, and the next time she saw Marcia, she said, "I've got this question, this 4 kingdoms of consciousness. Was that you, or did Michael steal that from you? Did you steal it from him? How did it work?" And she said, "Honey, it just is. It was laying on the ground. We both just picked it up." Isn't that interesting? It co-arose. It made sense. So here's the way it works. This is an evolutionary model of spirituality and relationship with the divine. We start actually in the lower left corner, Kingdom 1, to me. This is the place where many of us grew up in a traditional religion where we believe that we are at the whim of a distant God. And so whatever happens, happens to us. And if we're good people, then good things happen to us. If we're bad people, bad things happen to us. And sometimes bad things happen to good people, and this is very confusing in Kingdom 1. It's often a place of great victimhood. Oh, woe is me. You know the international victim salute, right? Some of you know that too well. So then, many of us, if we've come to a New Thought church, a Unity or a Science of Mind, I see you guys out there, good to see you. We have an awakening. Or we're handed this beautiful new teaching that God is not some distant, separate being with human whims who may or may not grant us our good. God is actually the all-present, all-powerful divine intelligence and love that is awake and alive everywhere, including within us. And we begin to claim our good. We begin to speak our word. We affirm our good, and we begin to manifest. In this first stage, well, the portal to go from kingdom 1 to kingdom 2 is to give up blame. There's a victim. Blame. That's right. Then we move into kingdom 2, and then suddenly the power of the universe is within us. Like Eric Butterworth's book, Discover the Power Within You. That's where we are in this place. And this is really the birthplace of unity and new thought. Is this idea that there is a spiritual power within us, and we can use it to create our good. And we begin to manifest and demonstrate our good. The 3 Ps are usually what we go for first. Princes, palaces, and parking places. And it works. And we begin to shift our lives using spiritual principle. And it's amazing. And then at some point, it's a little harder to control all these conditions and to manifest the way we used to. And sometimes we think that it just stopped working. But what we'll find is if we stay on this path, that a whole new kingdom is wanting to open up to us. And the portal from kingdom 2 to kingdom 3 is surrender. We move into kingdom 3, which is through me. And we become more purposeful. That the power of the Spirit that is absolutely within us, that is, we are using, but it is also using us. And we become a beneficent presence on the earth. We begin to serve. We begin to change the consciousness of humanity. And then the 4th kingdom, Asmi, this is the realm of the mystics. People who walk in the awareness that there is no separation. There's some debate about whether or not this is actually an attainable stage while we're still in a body, or whether this is simply a state that we sometimes rise into. One of my teachers, Kathy Hearn, said it's more like sometimes we just, on a really good day when all is well and we're aligned, we peek up into it. And we have these moments of knowing that I am one with all that is. It's a beautiful model. And it's been very, very helpful for me. So when I was thinking about David Alt's title tonight, I Am Available, I was thinking about this movement from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3. Kingdom 2 is a wonderful place. It's where we really do begin to shift the experience of living. We go from lack to abundance. We go from constriction to freedom. We go from victim to powerful. And yet, we can sometimes become selfish and self-centered in this space. We begin to sometimes focus on controlling the conditions of our life to a degree that it becomes heavy. And what I have found for me is that I'm really no good at running the universe. It's not my job. And so at some point, I needed something different. Before I move on to, I really want to focus on tonight is the surrender, the portal to availability. But moving from Kingdom 1 to Kingdom 2, I do want to say something about that. I believe there is a healthy expression of people who are at that Kingdom 1 consciousness of God, and you might think of it as being like the Good Shepherd. People who have a very dualistic but comfortable and comforting relationship with God at that level, and it can be healthy. For most of us as we grow, we can't live there forever. And sometimes the path from Kingdom 1 to Kingdom 2 is blocked by pain. It's not just that we think there's this God outside of us who is against us, that's what's happening to us, but we get just locked in the victimhood of life. Have you ever known anyone who is just locked into their own pain, their own fear, their own anger, and they're stuck there? Some of you have probably been there for periods of your own life where we get turned inward by a negative experience and we just don't have any freedom. So before we can get to Kingdom 3, there is no shortcut. We have to find that spiritual power. And I want to tell you tonight, if you're new to this teaching and you just need to be able to pay your rent, this is where we need to go, is Kingdom 2. That's exactly. We need to be able to use these spiritual tools so that we can create the life that works for us. And so if that's where you are, God bless you. And that's where you can come to my Prosperity Plus class. But we need to develop spiritual mastery using these tools and these principles. I'm not here to dog on Kingdom 2 because it's really good. But if you've been there a while and you can feel that a deeper expression of your spiritual evolution is calling to you, it may well be that you're being asked to surrender into the great I am that is truly everywhere present. This is Matthew chapter 5, starting with verse 1. Now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." It's one of the most famous passages in any religion, in any sacred text. And as the Jesus seminar, the scholars who really studied the historic figure of Jesus Christ, they told us that this is probably the greatest distillation of what this beautiful rabbi who lived and taught in the Middle East 2,000 years ago, this is actually what he said. And it's deep and a little confusing, particularly for those of us who are ready to affirm our way to a powerful life. What does it mean? Blessed are the meek, the poor in spirit, those who are persecuted. This does not sound like fun. I believe what Jesus is showing us is this evolutionary step from by me to through me. There's one of the Beatitudes that was really speaking to me today as I was preparing for tonight's message. It's, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." I've been speaking on this a lot lately. I've been really studying the Sermon on the Mount, and there's this theme that's always been there, but it took me a while to get it, that, Jesus said, don't store up your treasure on earth, and he says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. He said, don't worry about what you're going to wear, don't worry about what you're going to eat, for the kingdom of heaven is within. And so there's this constant theme in this distillation of Jesus' teaching is that don't look to the world for your security and your good. Don't look to the level of condition and form. Look to spiritual reality. And then you'll be all right. And that is the teaching over and over again from Jesus the Christ. He said, it is within you, already have it, it's already here, there is no separation. You don't look here or there, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And he has so many of these beautiful teaching stories, these parables. It says it's like a pearl of great price. It's like the treasure buried in the field. It's here. And it's not out there. And that is one of the problems that we can get into with our teachings, because we can become materialistic in a spiritual setting. I know not you, but some people do that. Some people get hung up on the form, on manifesting the next greatest, best form, and they forget that that's not the goal. That's not fulfilling. And here's the real deal. It's just not worthy of your soul. I believe in success and happiness. Anybody want some of that? Yeah, I believe in it. I think it's great. I don't think their goal is worthy of your soul. Because I think what your soul really wants is to be used by God to be the light of the world, is to shine before men and women in such a way that people are uplifted and transformed in your presence. And that doesn't come by manifesting the new Porsche Or does it? I don't know, maybe. What we're really seeking is fulfillment. I believe that each of us is called to be the authentic expression of God that we're created to be. And there's only one of you in all time. There's only you. And this is your shot to take one human lifetime and heal your childhood and to heal your addictions and to step into some spiritual responsible teaching of ownership of your own stuff and begin to get free enough to share your gift with the world. That's what we're here to do. That is the nature of love. And that's what being available means. And this is where it gets a little funny, and that's why I wanted to use this model tonight, because what I really want to tell you tonight is God knows better than you. And it doesn't make sense, really, from a unity perspective, because the infinite intelligence of God is within me. My mind is God's mind. So what do you mean, Michael? God knows better than you. What I want to tell you is that the infinite that you are doesn't fit in that Porsche. The infinite expression of the one doesn't know about your rough relationship history. The infinite of God that is seeking to manifest in and through your life knows nothing about your limitations that you're convinced you have. It only knows its own nature in you. And if you can get your own agenda out of the way, sometimes it just takes a fraction of a second, and surrender to this infinite love and power that wants to use you to heal the world. In a moment, you can be exactly what was needed for that person who's in the cubicle next to you to save their life in a way you don't even know. In a moment, you can give the exact right word to your son that you didn't even know you were going to say until it came out of your mouth. In that moment, you can become what you already are, the light of the world. My dear friend Maggie Cole, she's spoken here with me a couple times on this stage from California. She is a science mind practitioner, an amazing soul, been a teacher for a long time. She says this. She says, I want to be as available to God as God is available to me. And God is fully available to you. So really, I'm not telling you to not have a life of worldly abundance. I'm not telling you that at all. I think that we ought to be able to manifest our good in the realm of finances and occupation and relationships. All that Cinderella stuff, let's have it. That cat, though, I don't know. I believe we're here to live the lives of our dreams. But it's not about the stuff. It is about your availability. Getting, as Emerson says, getting your own bloated nothingness out of the way. We talk a lot about the ego in unity, and there is a spiritual teaching on the ego, and then there's a psychological teaching on the ego. In the psychological understanding, we all have one and we need one. It's the metabolizer of experience. It is the thing that allows me to move through the world and know that I'm me and I'm not Karen. That's necessary. It is a structure of persona that we need. But in the spiritual teachings on the ego, particularly in the Course in Miracles, it talks a lot about this. The ego is that which thinks that it is separate from God. And in that understanding, it is that bloated nothingness. And it is that separate thinking that creates the lack and the need and the grasping of life. I've got to get my good and hang on to it. And your spiritual nature, who you truly are, doesn't grasp or cling. I was taught early in recovery that the goal was to wear this life as a loose garment. And I was like, no, I need my stuff. I need it now. I need the pain to go away. I need to, get things right. I need to lose the 30 pounds. I need, whatever it was, that I needed these things to be okay. And I didn't understand that teaching, but somewhere along the way, this is what happened. I was ready to move, having it be by me, to having it be through me, and allow Spirit to use me for its own purpose. I've really come to understand, too, that the way to do life well is to be fully engaged but completely unattached. Have you noticed that? And that may be the highest peak of spiritual mastery. To be fully engaged, to be in the world, but not of the world. To be in the relationships, have your heart wide open to the people around you. And to be unattached to whether those relationships will last or not. To be unattached as whether you're going to keep that job or not. To be unattached as whether or not you're going to have enough money for retirement. I know some of you have been talking to me about that. To be fully engaged and unattached. And if we get in that space, we're available. We are available to God. So, I don't know if you know this, but I'm about to get a new job. And I've had a couple of moments of freak out. Had a couple of moments of like, really? A lot of moments of like, thank you, God. This is like the job of my dreams. This community. Yeah, because it's not the job, it's you guys. It's to lead a community such as this. Wow. I'm so excited. I shared back in, I think, June that I had a couple of moments where I'd gotten some critique and criticism, and I get that all the time. And if your light shines bright, you're going to attract bugs. Let me just say that. So, ain't no two ways about it. It's just, that's the way it works. And, and I've been doing my thing for a long time. I've been, recording albums and singing in this movement for 25 years. I have gotten my share of criticism over the years, and I've learned to handle it. But there's something that happened in June with that, and I shared about it here a little bit, that it just hit differently because I felt the responsibility of being the leader of this community, and I could feel how that's different. And then I just watched this kind of move through me, and I go, what did Jesus say? It's not me that doeth the work, but the Father within. Oh, that really lets me off the hook, doesn't it? Through me. If I can get my bloated nothingness out of the way, then God might have a shot of actually making a senior minister out of me. If I can get my need and my attachment to have it look a certain way out of the way and bring my full engagement, bring every gift and talent and desire I have to succeed and to bless you and to inspire you, if I can bring all that, then maybe without my attachment and my clinging, God can use that. And that's what I want. And that's what I'm signing up for. That's what I'm committing to. And I'm ready for you to commit right along with me. Because it is not just about one guy. It is about what this community can do. I really just don't even know how good it can get. But I'm starting to get a feeling that it's going to get real good around here. And all we have to do is get out of the way and let God use us. God bless you.